Hello, bonjour, hola. Welcome to Tortuga Learning. Here we discuss ways to live simply and slower by decluttering and minimizing and living an intentional life. So if you want ideas about how to live slower, sustainably, and have that kind of intention in living, please stay tuned and hit that subscribe button down below. Join our community. Let's get started. Today we're looking at decluttering at Christmas time. I know this is a very busy time for many people, but we began our Christmas preparations, and as I did, I realized there were quite a few items that we could declutter. And so I thought I would share with you some of the ideas that I came up with and things that you may use as well to be able to declutter at your house during Christmas time. Now I'm going to take the KonMari method in order to do this decluttering because I realized it works most efficiently in trying to complete the whole process. And if you don't know who KonMari is and her process, she's this guru, declutter and tidy. Originally she's from Japan, and she has come up with a method that goes through 5 different categories. Now I've been doing these categories in my house, but when I opened up my Christmas bins, I realized there were a number of items that I missed. So I'm going to use the same method to go through those as I show you. The 5 categories are clothing, paper, books, Komono, which means miscellaneous, and sentimental. She does it in this manner so that if you go in this order, it helps you with your decluttering and it makes it a little bit easier to be able to get rid of more items over the time. So here are some of the items I have decided to declutter based on using this method. Clothing. Well, whether it's an old, tired sweater or a top that just doesn't seem to be the sort of thing that you would wear anymore. You might find that there are Christmas outfits that you've outgrown or that your children have outgrown. There might be pajamas that just aren't very good looking anymore, or you might even find that even your ugly sweaters are too ugly to be able to bring out at Christmas time. It's the time instead that you should wear your favorite items. Marie Kondo really looks at the idea that you surround yourself with the things that bring you joy, that make you happy. Instead, choose your favorite outfits and wear these over the holidays. This is a time for joy. Choose to wear those things that are going to bring you joy and happiness. Paper. Now, I would include in these things like promotional papers that you've received in the mail, and you can have, there's a couple of options that you can do with these. The first option, obviously, is just to recycle them. Secondly, what you could do is, in some cases, people have used these to make them into decorations for Christmas, or maybe paper wrap for Christmas. Use your creativity. These are made for promotion by people who have done a lot of study, and instead of being pulled into the idea of buying everything that's on them, use some of their pictures to create a montage or a collage of what it is that you are trying to present for your loved ones for Christmas. Of course, be sure that you let the companies know that you would rather not receive their promotional material if you don't want to receive it. It takes a little bit of time now, but your future self will be happy that you took the time to do it. For paper as well, look at your Christmas decorations. Maybe what you do is you put up an advent calendar each year. Now in our case, we didn't have just one advent calendar or 2 advent calendars. We actually found that there were 3 of them in the house. And although these don't have candies in them, they have different messages behind each of the words. These are great things that can also be given away perhaps to a Sunday school or to friends that haven't done anything with an advent calendar in the past. Another example is look at your calendars at home. These calendars are great for daycares, for using for the colored pictures. We've gone through this 2019 I really do know what I'm doing in the last weeks of December, so maybe it's time now to get rid of this paper as well. And of course, I pulled out last year's Christmas cards. Now these ones are also great for daycare. They love them for making other cards, or you yourself, if you're creative at all, could start to make your own Christmas cards that you could send out this year. These are all ways that you can declutter items that are past, make them into things that are present, and not have to deal with them to pack up again for the future. Books. Many people give books for Christmas. It's a great gift, especially for anybody who's young, old, or in between. Books are a wonderful way of having an escape into another realm or into learning about something new. But the thing is, once you've read them, do you really need to read them again? So look through your books that you received last Christmas. See if there's any that you're absolutely sure you want to keep. For those that you don't, maybe consider you could give those to a library, or maybe there's another person, somebody that might be on your gift-giving list who wouldn't mind receiving something that's already been used. You could give it to family members. There's all sorts of different organizations that would love to have books to give for children as well as for the elderly. Old folks' homes are another great place to give books. Sometimes when you're visiting some of the elders, it's difficult to know what you want to talk about. So what you can do is pull out a book and start reading with them. They'd really enjoy it. Maybe you have books of your own at home, like we had this one, and there's nobody in the house really anymore that you would be reading to them. These are other books that you can collect up as well and give to libraries or even to donation centers. Komono. Miscellaneous. This is probably the biggest area you're going to find items that you can declutter. This is the time to look at those things that you've taken out of the Christmas bins. Really decide whether intentionally you want to keep them, or are they things that you've kind of grown out of. So of course, to get rid of these, you'd start off with anything that is broken or not functioning. Those things you might have to trash. Hopefully they can be refurbished or repaired so that they can be used again. Don't leave them in the bottom of the bin to decide what you're going to do with them another year down the line. For me, I also found that I was decluttering some of the items that were in pretty good condition. An example of that is we found that we had a whole bunch of extra lights that we never used. There's an extra mug that I no longer need. And there was a wreath holder that is still in the plastic bag. Never used it for hanging a wreath on a glass door. Of course, you'll probably find that there are many little ornaments that for one reason or another over the years, you've decided that they're in good condition, but they might not be what you want to put up on the tree. Another example that I don't have here to show you, but there are cookie jars and jam jars and cookie tins that could be used, but a lot of the times we have more than what we need. These are examples of things that can be passed on to somebody else, donated to a donation center where somebody else might be able to find use for them and be able to bring joy into their life. At this time, as I'm decluttering some of the items, I noticed that I had some candles that didn't burn very well in the past, so I might work on trying to get those candles set up nicer, or often what I do is I end up getting rid of the candle completely because it's not really usable anymore, and then give away the container. In this case it's glass. It could be used for recycling, however I probably would use it around the house for other purposes like holding pens or even some of the little laundry clips whenever I need to have them in the laundry room. Other things, you might find the children's toys, they've aged another year long and maybe some of their toys are not really usable for them anymore and maybe they don't even use them. This is a time where you can ask them to think about other children and you can donate gently used children's toys to donation centers. Clean them up, make sure everything is working and in good order, and then look at that as an option. The toys that we have around the house these days are doggy toys. So I am also going to clean these up and I'm going to donate them. They're going to go to the local shelter. So any animals that are left behind in the shelter, they at least have something that they can gnaw on or chew on for the times in between anybody going and visiting them. Again, with it being Christmas, other items that you might consider donating are gently used outerwear. There's the need for coats, mittens, gloves, hats, scarves, and even boots. And these are needed not only for children, but for adults, for men and women. So another area that you can feel that you're giving to your community and be able to declutter from your own house are gently used outdoor wear as well. Our final category is sentimental. Now these are items that you have a memory for having. You take them out and it creates some sort of memory. I would challenge that for some sentimental items you might even consider decluttering these. Now in our house this last year my son has left home and he has a place of his own. So what we were able to do was to declutter some of the ornaments from the tree as well as the decorations from around the house and offer them up to him. So now he has them so he can start his own Christmas traditions in his own place. Now, sentimental items, just by the fact that they are sentimental, can sometimes create memories by looking at them. So an option, if you're not wanting to hold on to them, is to take a picture of them. Then you can pass them along, again, to the donation, maybe somebody else in the family, or to another organization that is trying to raise funds like a bake sale and rummage sale. And these can then be used by somebody else who also might enjoy them a great deal. So use this time to look over your Christmas items. Are there some things that you can be using elsewhere, or somebody else could be using them elsewhere, or they could be used by others and perhaps even recycled? If I offered you some good ideas here, please hit the thumbs up button down below. I'd love it if you'd subscribe and we can get to know each other a little bit more here at the community, in this community. Use this as a chance to get ideas on intentional living, allowing you to live a slower, decluttered, minimalist type life. Merry Christmas, Joyeux Noël, Feliz Navidad, wherever you are. Miigwech.